Hey guys, it's Kathy. How are you today? Welcome to Non-Dominant Hand Drawing. Things are moving, things are changing. I'm not just non-dominant anymore. I'm going to be drawing with my left hand today, and I'm going to be doing some assisting with my right, but it's mostly going to be my left. So things are definitely moving and moving in the right direction. Hey there, Wendy. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but so today we're going to be doing some little butterflies, and my reference material for this art is the same as I used yesterday. It's this book, Taschen Icons Butterflies by Alberta Seba, who is a scientific illustrator, did a lot of scientific kind of animals and insect drawing. And I usually don't draw from illustrators' artwork, even if it's technical illustrations, but I'm really doing my own spin. So I have this book and I really like it. And I've been doing non-dominant hand drawing, and all this stuff has just been sort of, just for my own sketchbook and stuff like that. And I've just been wanting to sort of work on my line work and stuff. But now I'm to the point where my left hand is doing really well. So I'm super, super excited. And I'm still just using this book as a little bit of a reference. Usually I like to use photos. And then I love books like this to show you anatomy and stuff. So, if you have a photo that you're using, I'm going to just move this up a little bit. So if you have a photo that you're using, you can work from the photo, but then for a book like this, you can actually see what the parts of the anatomy show that you can't see in a photo. So that's where a book like this comes in really, really handy. But I'm cool with I'm not like doing anything exact from this book. I'm just using this as like a really loose guide for my, for the anatomy today. And then for inspiration, I'm just kind of using my own brain. But so let's do some little cards. So let me just talk real quick about the materials. I have been using these Marvy Pastelliners lately. And what I love about these, you guys, they're really inexpensive. They're only like $5 or $6 for this set. And what I really love about them is that if you use them on different types of paper, you can see they sometimes can do like cool modeled effects when you use them. And I love it. Hey, K-Pin 1233, thank you. So I bought these a while ago, like a few months ago, and I love to use highlighters just as markers, okay? And I use them a lot. And I bought these just kind of on a whim because I just wanted to test them out, and they were really inexpensive, and I just thought, why not? And when I started using them like this, I just thought, oh my gosh, they're so cool. They have such a cute, here, let me show you this other one that I did. This was the one that really opened my eyes. I mean, I just love the kind of blotchiness of them. They're so pretty. And so they're really great for just accents, or just do a little card, like an entire card with the set like these. So I actually ran out of my thank you cards for my customers. So what I had been doing before, I had an accident with my hand, and I was out of commission for like 3 weeks. Before that, I had drawn a bunch of these cards, and I was using them for my customers when they bought something from my store that I shipped from my house. I do a lot of print on demand, so a lot of stuff is shipped elsewhere from my mug partners. But when I had stuff that I shipped from here, I would just include one of these little cards and, write a little thank you note on the back instead of using the printed cards that I usually get because I ran out. But anyway, I love doing stuff like that because just like drawing little cards for your customers, sometimes just take a little block of time, just drop some little ideas, because I feel like when you're in like free mode and just working on a little piece like this, or, you just don't have any, you don't have like a task that you have to draw, like you're not forcing yourself to do like some sort of a lesson or something, and you're just sort of drawing freely out of your mind and you're just having fun. That's sort of when you get for me. That's like, I get some really cool little fun ideas out of that. So, I mean, now I'm thinking, geez, I could do like a whole series of little stickers or something with these cute little designs. So anyway, that's neither here nor there, but I just wanted to show you the cool effects that these markers, that these pastel liner highlighter markers make. And so once I saw them on this paper, this is like a fancy stationery paper that I purchased a while ago. I have a whole bunch of it and I cut it into little squares. I thought, why not try this pen on different types of paper to see what different type of effects you can get. So I tried it before this live. I tried it on this Fluid 100 watercolor paper. It's hot press, and that is what I did these on. And I thought, you know, these are really cute. I just cut them into little squares again, and I made it look like a little scientific illustration by putting the number up there, so you could just, you know, have fun. So see, I'm just sort of using these as a very loose just guide for, you know, some shapes and some wing shapes, and just for the designs on the wings a little bit. But you can really kind of just do whatever you want. You know, use your own little symbol ideas and things that you want, and just, you know, embellish, use those for decorative effects. So I really liked how this came out on this paper, and this is really inexpensive paper. I really like it for just, you know, anything really. I probably wouldn't use it for like a super fancy painting, but it's just like a really nice paper that's very economical. So I have just a whole bunch of these little blocks. I love them. And yeah, so I cut up a bunch of these, and today I thought I would try these markers with you guys for the first time on Yupo Heavy, because this paper's really cool. And it's like, I don't even think it's real paper. I think it's like some sort of weird plastic. Oh wait, tree-free, bright white, and stain-proof. Okay. So here's a little thing you can read about it. Non-absorbent and slick. So this is going to probably be really cool to check out how it works with marker. So we can do, I'm just going to put these guys here for our reference, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, but I also want to try it out on this one, which is a watercolor paper. This is Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press. So let's give it a shot on this one too. Oh, this is a little marker drawing I did. Not recently. I did that a couple months ago on an airplane, I think. So yeah, so this one has a little bit of a tooth to it. So it's going to absorb the pens, and this one is not. So we're going to see how the ink sits on them differently. But, you know, I just drew these so you could see what we were going to do today. And I will be using mostly my left hand with an assist from my right today. My right hand is my non-dominant hand, and I have been doing non-dominant, but you guys, I'm moving up. Okay, like things are moving along very nicely with my hand, and I'm super excited to move forward and to do, there we go. Let's do that. How's that? Let me just zoom in a little bit. Hope the lighting's, let's go. So, all right, let's start. So I'm gonna do picking out my moth. So this paper is the cold press watercolor, and you see the texture is rougher, and it's absorbing the water, the ink differently than it will if it's just going to sit on top. So I'm very curious to see what the difference is going to be. But I'm just going to make some little guides for myself for my wings. So I drew the body first because I just wanted to try and get it centered. And I tend to do, if I don't do something like that, like if I don't give myself a visual marker for the center, then I'm going to be a little lopsided, which is also totally fine, but that's not really what I was going for. So I'm just gonna, I'm actually just totally winging it. No pun intended. Winging the wing here. And there we go. I like that. Okay. So now I'm looking at my picture for reference just to see the bottom wing goes under and it starts about there. And then it's like that. So let's do that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And now I'm just going to do some coloring in, but I'm doing my strokes to sort of emulate the texture in the wing. So when we see those little lines, those threads going through the wing. And you know, on this paper, see on this paper, you can see the marks, the line marks from the pen. But on this paper, you really don't. See? You don't see that as much anyway. I don't really see it at all. So I'm just going to put this guy here for reference and move this all up because it's a bit hard to see. So I'm doing the coloring in with the ink and I'm not seeing the strokes. So I'm going to fill in both wings and then I'm going to put this one to the side and work on the other one because I want to give this a little time to absorb and dry before I do more work on it. So if you can see where it's getting like a little saturated in these little parts, so I don't want the paper to break down. It looks like I'm starting to see some of the fibers. If I was to go over that over and over, you can see that that's where it's super saturated and that's where the fibers can get broken down if I'm really not careful. So I'm going to leave this for now and we're going to go to the Yupo. So this is Yupo Heavy. And now let's do a purple butterfly on the Yupo Heavy and see how it sits. So just wanted to see where the top of it is right there so I can know where to put my little body, little head. So you see, this is really different. The ink is acting super different on this. And I've used Yupo paper before. It's some sort of synthetic or I don't know if it's plastic. Hey, Kristen, I'm gonna wave at you. Hey, I'm gonna wave at you. I want to wave at you. Hey, guys. Yeah, so now we're using the Yupo. So just for Kristen and others who weren't here a minute ago, the top one is Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press. And this is very absorbent cold press watercolor paper. I'm using the Marvy Uchida Pastelliner on it, and you can see that it's like super absorbed and I don't want to overwork it. So I'm going to do more on that one, but I'm just letting it dry up so I can do more work on that one. And now I'm going to do a similar butterfly on the Yupo. This is Yupo Heavy. And I'm using the same pen. And these are ink. They're not like pigment. So it's not going to be the same for like watercolor or anything like that. These are ink, but I mean, it's still liquid, you know, it's still saturating the paper or saturating it, but it doesn't absorb into the Yupo. So it's always interesting to see how some sort of a color is going to sit, some sort of a liquid color is going to sit on the Yupo. And I'm just sort of mimicking the shapes that I did on the top. I'm using my left hand right now. I will use my right. My non-dominant is my right. I will use that as an assist later. If you've been with me for the past 3 weeks or so, I've been doing non-dominant hand drawing. And my left hand is my dominant hand, and that's because I had a crazy fall and I couldn't use my left hand. Okay, so I know this looks weird right now, but we're gonna make it look better down the road. But we're going to add to this and stuff. So don't even worry. This is just the base. So I'm just going to do that. And now we're going to go back to this guy. And I want to just take a quick peek at this and see. All right. I can't even really tell if that's dry or not. So other pens that I have to embellish today are, excuse-moi. Okay, great. I have the Tombow. This is not black. It's like a dark gray. It's like a dark blue gray. And I really like to use like a neutral for a black and a neutral white sometimes that are not straight black and straight white, because I think they really add a little something to your artwork if you're not always using just black or just pure white. And this is the white paint pen I'm going to be using, and this is ivory. It's not white. I love to use like an off-white for the same reason, because I just think it adds something. So I'm going to be really treading lightly with this one, because this paper is super absorbent and this paper is not absorbent, so I don't have to worry about it. But I think this one might, yeah, you can see my fingerprint there. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna work on this one, do a little bit more, and we're working from this moth right here, just for, you know, this style of the markings on it and stuff. But really, that's about it. We're not doing anything else with it. We're not doing any, like, I'm not copying that artwork or anything. I'm just using it as a reference point for the designs on the butterfly. I mean, on the moth, rather. We're doing a moth. This is not a butterfly. This is a moth. Okay, so far so good. So my camera's really close to my hand, and I don't know if how much I'm gonna be drawing with my right because of that. So, because I kind of need a little more leeway. So this marker has two ends, and I love using both ends. This one gives you more control and it's smaller, and it's better when you need more control. And this one is really nice if you want more expressive movements and you're like open to, you know, little things that you're not expecting. So I love that. This is my right hand now, where I'm using my non-dominant hand, and I'm going to just try to mimic that, but with a brush. So just to sort of show you what happens when you have a lack of control. That actually looks nice, but do you see the difference? So, you know, this, I had way more control. This one I didn't, and you can see the tips, the points are not as sharp, but for that, I think it has a much nicer sort of flow to it too. So let's just stick with this. I'm gonna do, another thing I really like about these and using the brush tip is I like using it like it's a stamp. So it's fun to use this, use the side shape for different, you know, in different ways in your artwork for whatever you need. For right now, it's working for my butterfly. I mean, for my moth. It's not a butterfly. This is a moth. And little update. So I've been talking about this probably every day I touch on it, but I am going to be doing art live streams on YouTube. And what I've been doing when I've been out of commission with my left hand is I've been trying to focus on what I can control and focus on the future and focus on things that, you know, especially since I found out that my hand's okay and I'm getting better. I've just been super overjoyed by that news and knowing that, you know, things are going to get better, and things are already very much better, as you can see, because I'm using my hand. But I took the time to really focus on what I could do to do live streaming on YouTube and just sort of up my video game a little bit. Not in terms of like buying a new camera or anything, but in terms of equipment and what I could do in terms of, you know, having more than one camera and what kind of software I should use that would, you know, improve over a single camera like we're doing here on Instagram, which, I mean, I think this is pretty much it for Instagram Lives. I know you can split the screen with somebody else, but I'm not doing that. So I'm just gonna lift this a little bit so I stop knocking you. Okay, if that's too far away, please do let me know. So yeah, so I got some software. There's free software called OBS Studio that is for live streaming, and it allows me to use 2 cameras. So I'm getting my setup ready, and I will let everybody know who is interested to watch live streams on YouTube when I have things almost ready to go. So I also like using the side of this pen as like a stamp. So one of the things I don't really love about this pen, or didn't, but I actually now I'm seeing the value in it. So this pen, these types of pens have a very, very sharp tip on them. They have a very sharp tip, and depending on the paper you use, it can be hard to sort of catch that edge. And I was having trouble with that on other papers that I was using, and I talked about that in yesterday's live stream. But ever since I've been using it more, it's become less of a problem for me. And now I'm actually finding it kind of like a fun little element of the pen, because you can see on this guy, I used the, you know, wide end, and then I used the little sharp tip there. And the tip, what bothered me was that it's extremely hard and that it really doesn't have a lot of give, but I'm now seeing value in that. So like, hey, right? If you just use something and experiment with it, you can see, you know, how it can work for you. Okay. So this is on the hot press Legion cold press, because it's got a texture to it. It's got a tooth and it's got fibers. Like you can see in the paper where the fibers, oh God, sorry, I can't talk. The fibers absorbed more here. And you can see that if I continued to saturate those areas, that's going to break the paper down. So I let it rest after I did that so it could just dry up a little bit. But this Yupo paper that I'm using is, grab it. There we go. This Yupo paper is not paper. It's not made from trees. Okay. So it is, I guess it is paper, but it's just not, it's not the same. It's not absorbent. Ink and pigments that are liquid just act way different on it. If you see that little spot right there, that's where I touched it. so that's not usually the case. That's not a place where it didn't absorb. That's where I touched it with my finger. So if you don't touch it, it should be fine. Yeah. So now I'm just gonna do a similar on this guy, so we can see. Oops. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. just gonna do the same thing here, using the side of the pen like it's a, kind of like it's a stamp. And it gets that cool organic, you know, it's different every time, which I really love that aspect of these pens. All right, so now I'm just doing that, the body, and now I'm gonna switch to the other side, and I'm just gonna do some lines, and I'm gonna do a circle for where that circle is. So the other side of the pen would be really good for this, but I just wanted to sort of use both sides and see what we could do. I'm just freestyling here, doing the lines in the wings, those texture lines. I guess they're grain, the grain of the wing there. So I will just quickly touch on something that I did last night. Finished Ozark season 4, part 1, and such a good show. And I thought there was one more episode, but there wasn't. So I don't know when the part 2 is going to be happening, but I think we're just going to have to be patient. And I don't know if anybody else watches Ozark, but it's the kind of thing where you just can't watch it like one episode at a time. It's like just you just cannot do that. I can't do that. So I'm going to add a little white paint pen. Into the little dots I just did. I'm just wiping my pen tip off on a fresh piece of paper over there. Whoops. Okay, there we go. All right. You know what? I'm going to use paint pen on this guy for the texture, for his leaves. I'm going to just do this. I love paint pens, opaque paint pens. They're great over darker marker. I do it a lot. Sometimes I will even just draw on a white sheet of paper and I'll show you actually an example of what I like to do. What I seem to end up doing a lot with these markers when I'm drawing with them in my sketchbook is, I will show you right now. This. Draw with the marker, and then I will just do designs in the darker lines, which is a super fun way to use them. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do. So I'm liking this paper a lot. I'm not using the Yupo again with the pastel liners or with, I don't think, with the Molotov, with the Tombow, unless I watered the Tombow, because these are water soluble. So what I have discovered today is that Yupo really is not ideal with markers. I think it's much better with watercolor or with liquid ink. That's the story. That's what I'm discovering today. So that's a good thing to learn, and learn with you guys. as we go. I'm just going to lift this up a little bit because otherwise I'm going to keep hitting the camera. I don't want to do that. So even though this one you don't get a super sharp edge, that doesn't bother me because I actually don't mind that too much. And also, I actually really prefer the brush tip with this paper because it just has way more character than the smaller tip, the more controlled tip. I don't like that. I didn't like how that was looking. So now, but if I want to draw something like a star on it, then it's probably better to use the tighter end, the little tight tip. But I'm going to do some more freestyle, crunchy looking star down here. And just let it be what it is. That's what I'm doing. And I'm gonna also, see, I keep doing it. I keep banging my pen on my phone holder. Sorry, dudes. Sorry, guys, ladies and guys, and everybody. Okay, there we go. So, yep, just sort of making it up as I go along. And I'm going to add some gold. Actually, let's just break out the gold right now. So I'm using a Molotow One for All gold marker. And as far as gold markers go, I really like the Molotow One for All. I like the tip that's, I think it's 3, what is it? It's not the teeny tiny tip. It's like the medium-ish tip. It just seems to, you get more, I feel like I get more out of it. Sometimes the really tiny tips on paint pens are really hard and they just aren't, the ink just won't flow through them very well, or the paint, I should say. So I tend to avoid those, and I only get well, actually, I shouldn't say I only get. The smallest tip I get is this type of a tip, which is the same size as, I think, yeah, as this one. So it's like the same size, and this is PC3M bullet shaped 0.9-1.3 mm. Thanks, Jane. Jane's here. Oop, I gotta wave at Jane. Jane, I have my camera really close to my face today because I'm doing super close up. So, and I'm using my left hand today. I was gonna do like half and half, but because this is so close to my, the camera is so close to my hand, and I just really don't have a lot of leeway for mistakes. I am using mostly left. I did use my right for a tiny bit, but you know, I'm also just so much better than I was. And it still feels a little bit sprained, but you guys, it's totally getting better, my hand. So I'm so excited. I am so excited. And I'm really excited to like move forward, you know? And I've really gotten so much out of doing non-dominant hand drawings. And, you know, it's been a big question. Would I continue to do this? Because not live streams, but would I continue to do non-dominant? But the thing is, it's kind of like if you don't have to, you kind of don't really want to make the time for it because it's like, but I can draw with my left hand. So like, why would I, whoops. I like to also, hey, let's do that again on this side. Oh yeah, let's do it on that side too. That's the way to do it. You got to make these little things work for you. Does it feel more secure? being so close to having the camera so close, I feel like I keep banging the camera with my, and by camera, I mean phone, everybody, because it's my phone. But I keep banging my pen on it, and I feel like that's not cool. But anyway, so these are what I did before we came on today. And let's see. And I did these on the Fluid 100. I cut up a whole bunch of little squares, and I talked about this the other day. For anybody who was here the other day, you know that I was mentioning how much I love these pens because they make a really cool little weird watercolory effect on your paper, depending on the paper that you use. So I thought today, why not try them on both a cold press watercolor paper, and which is, you know, cotton and very absorbent, highly absorbent, and you have to be careful with it because you don't want to, you know, pick up the fibers too much. So you got to be careful with it. And on a Yupo, which is not at all tree fiber at all. In fact, I did know what it was, but I don't remember what it is. It's Yupo is like, where is the Yupo? See, that's how far I got with the Yupo. I tossed it aside. This is how far I got with the Yupo, because the Yupo is just not, it's don't use Yupo with these markers. It just doesn't do them justice at all. This is not the preferred medium. Those are not the preferred medium for the Yupo, I just learned. So, because I was just doing a little test and it worked out. It is, yes, it is plastic-like. And I have used paints on it. I've used ink and I've used watercolor, both of which I've liked the effects of. But this is not right. If I used Tombow and used water with them, perhaps, but you know what? I'm not doing that right now. So we've given up. We've officially given up on this guy. And now I'm just going to move forward and do a little bit more on this guy. Ow. I keep banging my glasses, you guys, and I broke my nose. Okay. So when I had my accident, and it didn't show up on the MRI. So if you ask the doctors, they'll say, yep, the MRI shows no break, but it looks like you broke your nose. That's what they say. And I'm just going with I broke it, because I've done a fair amount of talking to the doctors and of my own little Googling in terms of what happens when you break your nose. And it's neither here nor there. My nose is fine, everybody. But the deal is that my nose is still, you know, it's still healing, and it's been over 3 weeks. And nose breaks take about 3 weeks to heal, according to Dr. Google. And my nose is I'm still dealing with nose stuff. And I just really, plus I used to have a little bump on my nose that is gone. So I think my face plant effectively gave me a little nose shave on my bone of my nose. So look at that. So yeah, that's that. So now I'm just finishing this guy up, and I'm really loving this. So these are really fun, and I'm working from this book. I'm just gonna lift it up on Yupo, Jane. I think you can. I think that I think it's like ink and liquid ink. Sorry, like the Dr. Martens inks. Let's see if they have any that are handy to grab. I mean, we could just sit here and hold on one second. I have some right over. Where are they? Okay. Oh, you know what? Right here. I have some right over here. I'm just gonna grab. Let me see what okay, let's do it. Let us try let's just go nuts today, shall we? Let's go crazy. Hey, and we're doing purple, so I don't know. Are you sensing a Prince theme? So Yupo works great with, let's see. Of course, this is going to take forever to dry now, but let's see. And then if we do, so this is liquid ink, which is not the same thing as watercolor. Although, look, it says radiant concentrated watercolor, but I'm going to tell you guys, I don't think these have any pigment in them. These are ink, I believe. I don't want to be, spreading false information, but I do believe that these are ink. Ink is not pigment. It's totally fine. It's beautiful. I love these. They're fabulous. They're one of my favorite things ever. But pigment is not the same as ink. Pigment, ink is much more, you have to be much more careful with it in terms of longevity. It doesn't last. It will fade if you put it in the sunlight and all that. So you have to be super careful with it. Okay, we are super freestyling here because I did not intend to break out ink and start drawing with it. But there's some ink, and now let's try some watercolor. So I'm gonna grab, it's so nice to have all of my stuff so close to me. It's awesome. And you guys should see the size of my room is really small, but I'm just gonna do a little water squirt here and clean that off. And now we're gonna take some, this is a Japanese watercolor set. I just happen to have this super handy right here, and I don't want to bang you. There we go. I don't want to keep banging the camera. So I'm just gonna do a little testy test and see how this works. So, and actually these watercolors aren't really, they're not all uniformly the same as other types of watercolors. These sort of have a opacity to them, more or less, like most of them do, as opposed to a traditional type of a watercolor. Thank you, Jane. Who a traditional type of a watercolor has, they all vary in terms of amounts of opacity, like a white base. Some of them have it, some of them don't. But I find that these types of Japanese watercolors tend to mostly have white base. So right now, you guys, we're just messing around on a piece of Yupo paper. So maybe we'll come back and revisit this another day, because we're over the half an hour time limit, and I did some, I'm gonna let that dry. One of the cool things about Yupo paper is the way that the watercolor, whatever you're using, dries on it. So you can get a really cool little halo and stuff. I think people use alcohol inks on them. I'm so behind the curve on that, so I apologize. Yeah, I never really hopped on the alcohol inks trend too much. I appreciated other people using it and watching that. And I did do a little bit of experimentation on my own with with alcohol inks, but yeah, I just never really hopped on the trend. So although I very much appreciate it, and it's beautiful. So this is our Misfit Moth, which I did not finish because I realized up until this point that this is really not the correct medium for this for this paper. No to Marvy Uchida Pastelliner and Tombow marker. Although Tombow with water might be okay, but We're not gonna find out today if that's the way it is. This is the one that we did today. Cute, and used the Tombow, not black, almost black, N35. This is like a neutral black. So it's kind of a blue black. It's definitely not a yellow based black, but it's kind of a blue based black, but it's blue based. Haha. It's kind of a blue based black, but it's really neutral. It's really mostly neutral. Thank you, Adriana Bergstrom. Yay! This is another one that we did today before. So, and this is one of this, I did these 2 samples beforehand. You guys, this is new to me. I'm used to popping on here, talking about, what movie I saw yesterday and drawing with my right hand. And today I just decided to do a project because I have my left hand back. I'm so excited. I did use a little bit of my right today, but not too much. And then, this is the last one that we did. And today I was using as inspiration butterflies. This is Taschen book, Icon Series Butterflies by Alberta Seba. And it's actually more than just butterflies. This book, I'm going to show you. This book has, I'm going to just lift this up a little bit. I'm going to stand up so I can have a little bit more space here to show you this awesome book. So, I just got that's called love. that's like love marks because yes, I'm making it messy because I'm using it. This book is awesome. And this is what I bought it for. I bought it to use. So who cares? It's got butterflies. It's got moths in it. It's got all different types of insects. There's cicadas in here. There's more moths. There's life cycle. There's interesting different leaves. It's so cool to see all the different, I love the color palettes that they picked, that he picked, I should say. Anyway, this is great. So this book, among some other of the Taschen Icon books, see, look at these. I mean, those are not butterflies, even though the book is called Butterflies, like the Compendium of Butterflies. It's got way more than butterflies in it. And these are great little books for your reference shelf. If you ever want to, you're drawing from your photos and you're like, hey, I can't see the right leg on that guy, or I can't see the front legs, or I can't make out exactly what the grain on that wing looks like. Or, for instance, look at his little tentacles there. I can't see what direction, I want to see a closer up version. Actually, these aren't very close up. Some of them are, but I need more detail to see what that insect looks like. And this book, or books like this, I should say, not just this book, but books like this, they allow you to do that. I typically don't like to draw from technical illustrations or anything like that, but they're very, very helpful when, you're working from photos and you don't have the whole picture from a photo. It's just look at these are the types of books that you can just look at this and say, okay, I can see how this is, how it naturally will fall if the plant, it's not a plant. If the insect or whatever you're looking at was naturally, down. I prefer photos. I don't work from other illustrations. That's like a rule. That's my rule. Do not work from other illustrations. However, these books are, first of all, I just love botanical and scientific illustrations. I mean, they're gorgeous and they're so inspirational. Love color palettes, love the different textures and the different, all the different little patterns and things. So they're very inspirational to look at. I collected this kind of artwork 30, 40 years ago. Okay, I'm aging myself. Not 40 years ago. I'm not that old. But, when I was a younger woman, let's say. Before I ever, did anything, similar to this, which, we've all done our own little bits. So, yeah, but it's very inspiring. And anyway, so this book and a few of the other Tash and Icon series books that I enjoy, I love them. I have probably like 25 of them or so. You can get them used very inexpensively sometimes if you dig around. I mentioned this on the live stream yesterday. I have some of them in my Amazon. It's live stream resources link in my bio link, and I have some of them listed in there, but use those for reference and not to buy, because unless you find them cheap through Amazon, then go for it by all means. But you know, they're there for you to take a look at, and then you can like go and look for it on eBay or something, because sometimes Amazon, if a book is out of print, and I think these are out of print, they'll be like $98 for a book like this, which is just not, that's silly. But also to that point, if you do see, if you see a link like that in my store and it says some crazy price, sometimes if you click on it, it will be not that price. When you click into the actual listing, it's like a normal price, not like a $98 price. So Amazon's weird, but it is a good place to share the stuff that you use, especially if you're, you know, using it and you're advocating it. But also it's nice to just like show you, here's the book. If you need the name of the book and you want to go look on eBay, you know, you want to go to your local bookseller, whatever, you know, grab, you know, keep it in your phone, and then when you're in the bookstore, like look it up and buy it from your local bookstore. You know what I mean? Buy it from your local bookstore used, if you're lucky enough to have a local bookstore that has a nice selection of these types of used books. Anyway, all right, I'm going to hang it up for today. And oh my gosh, you guys, like my world is changing because I have my left hand back. So what am I going to do? Would you like to see more demos like this? What kinds of things should we do? Okay, before we hang up, let's look at the Yupo again. Okay, it's still super wet. Still super wet. Right side is this, Dr. Martin's Radiant Concentrated Watercolor, which I believe is actually ink and not actual pigment. And the left side is, I don't want to spill this on my butterflies. I move that over. The left side is Gansai Tambi, Kuretake, Japanese traditional solid watercolors. Love these. I actually, oh yeah, live. We're live and making potential disasters. I have a YouTube video, which I'm going to be editing soon, which, okay, you ready for this? This used to be an old dried out set. And now you can see it's a little bit dried out, see there? But what I did is I went in and I reconstituted all of these, and they looked glossy and fabulous for a while. And now they look a little bit dried out again. But I do have a video where I go in and I make these look fresh and new again. But that will be a fun watch. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go because I've rambled your ears off today. So I hope that you've enjoyed, and I'm probably going to put a poll or like a question thing in my story because I'd love to see what you guys would like me to do next. Yeah, now that my left hand is better. So, all right, I will talk to you guys soon and have an awesome day. Bye.